90 years ago, the guns fell silent and the Great War came to an end. Since that time, successive Remembrance Sundays have kept alive the memory, as has another great legacy of that conflict, the words of the soldier poets. Tonight we're joined by two authorities on war poetry, actor Robert Hardy and Andrew Motion, the Poet Laureate. We'll be paying tribute with poems old and new to those who have served in conflicts past and present. We're in the ancient garrison town of Shrewsbury, which was home to perhaps the most famous war poet of all, Wilfred Owen. His name is immortalised on the Abbey's War Memorial, and throughout the town centre parish of St Chad with St Mary and St Alkmund, the names of countless others are commemorated. Here in St Chad's, members of the armed forces based here in Shropshire and of the Royal British Legion have gathered to honour their comrades who have made the supreme sacrifice. Not all the poets of the Great War were soldiers. Some were even hymn writers, like John Oxenham, whose Hymn for the Men at the Front reputedly sold 8 million copies, making him the most popular poet of the period. But by far the most famous of all the war poets are the soldiers, many of whom were treated for shell shock or even killed, and Wilfred Owen was one of these. Owen's family lived in Shrewsbury, where his father worked at the railway station. Wilfred was devoutly religious, an evangelical Anglican who had trained for the ministry and attended church in nearby Uffington. Aged just 25, he lost his life in the last week of the war, his parents actually receiving notification of his death on the 11th of November 1918, whilst listening to the peal of Shrewsbury's church bells announcing the armistice.
I suppose Wilfred Owen's most famous poem is Anthem for Doomed Youth. What passing bell for those who die as cattle? Only the monstrous anger of the guns, only the stuttering rifle's rapid rattle. And he manages to convey the awfulness, the pity of war, the brutality, the boredom, the danger, the whole mass of human degrading experience which was the 1418 war. And thereby he has become the greatest of the war poets. Wilfred Owen was very much a Christian, and his question, time and again, spoken or unspoken in his poetry, is where is God in all this? What kind of creator being allows such horror? And this is what comes into that very succinct and sharp little questioning poem, The Soldier's Dream, when kind Jesus has rubbished all the military equipment, and then God is vexed and gives power to Michael the archangel, who is the warrior. And when the soldier wakes, when Wilfred Owen wakes from his dream, all the repairs have been done and it's business as usual. But his question is, where is God? I dreamed kind Jesus fouled the big gun gears and caused a permanent stoppage in all boats, and buckled with a smile Mausers and Colts, and rusted every bayonet with his tears. And there were no more bombs of ours or theirs, not even an old flintlock, not even a pike'll. But God was vexed and gave all power to Michael. And when I woke, he'd seen to our repairs.
Wilfred Owen's poems were promoted by the already established soldier poet Siegfried Sassoon, a man who had challenged the policies that kept World War I going. Sassoon also described himself as a religious poet. Unlike Owen, he survived the war, but it did have a lasting effect on him. His poem Everyone Sang is based on a real incident he witnessed on a march to the front line, when amidst the horror and despondency, the weary and frightened men spontaneously burst into song.